Chapter 12. Lovely. Where's the crime boss? It was Hudson the Barbarian. This is his sister Shudon, because that's just the same name but with a letter rolled around to the front. And then the octopus, Gus. It's end of last chapter. Duri, our golem alchemist boy, who has been transmigrated to his same world, just in a golem body, because a witch was a not very nice person. The two of them come back from some adventure that is unnamed at the moment. Hudson, the barbarian, is bleeding all over the place, and Duri is like, oh, well, I mean, I can heal you guys. And so he gives them healing potions. It's like, pleased to meet you all. If you really meant that about being willing to help me, I was just on my way to visit a loan shark. Would you care to join me? Who is Tim Kimboyle. So, Shudon. Web novels have a very simple style requirement. Their readers tend to not have amazing reading skills or English comprehension. At least 2/3 of them are non-Westerners, I believe. So their exposure to English is less generally colloquial than people from the UK or the US. People who live in India, certainly they speak English a lot more, it seems, than people who live in, like, the Philippines. There's just a requirement that you have very simple sentence structure and vocabulary, which I am doing my level best to accommodate. Shudon was taken aback. Tim Kimboyle was a he's a fairy crime boss. He's a drug lord. My initial thought was I'm going to riff off Tinkerbell a little bit. This book is, I've been describing it as Shrek meets Konosuba. It's I hate the term twisted fairy tale because generally stories that describe themselves like that, in my opinion, are just really edgy, and this is supposed to be a funny book, not an edgy book, and so I don't really want to describe it as that, but it is as twisted fairy tale as you're going to get from a combination of Shrek and Konosuba. So Timken Boyle's first trait was Tinkerbell parody, and he's really warped away from that, but I do like the Disney-ish idea of fairies have a transformation when they mature that describes their core identity. It's a very, teaching kids to, have a good sense of self-worth by having them identify with magical fairies that are, naming themselves after their core trait. But in this case, it's because he boils people. And boiling people is not something that, kids should be identifying with. In this case. I feel like Dury should be, for the sake of pacing. And I really hate, I've got to grab an M dash. I need to just memorize the Unicode M dash so I can just slap it into documents when I need them instead of looking it up every time. So if I'm writing in Scrivener or in Pro Writing Aid, it'll just autofill an M dash from 2 dashes. But for some reason, Atticus doesn't like doing that. And it likes to do that. It likes to skip a line when I paste it in. Oh, so then. And a random writing tip that apparently lots of people need to hear: when a character is speaking in a line of dialogue and they're cut off at the end, you put an M dash at the end, not an ellipsis. Most people will do, oh, said Dury. Then, and sometimes they won't even do an ellipsis right. I've been finding lots of people online will either use 2 ellipses or 2 dots in an ellipsis, or they'll use 4, that's another common one, or they'll add lots of dots to the end to show that it's just trailing off over a long period of time. And I get that. I have a little bit of sympathy for the idea of being able to code more information into a word by adding punctuation to it. But in standard writing, if your character is not trailing off and creating that space for the next person to talk, if they are speaking and then getting cut off, you use an M dash. Oh, said Dury then. He boils people, yes. So shoot on. Into candy. Or it used to be candy. Now it's drugs. He still calls it candy. I never know what to do with Some people would say you should never write you should say the character hummed. Web novel is it's a fairly casual format, so I'm okay with adding a tiny bit more casuality into the dialogue. But I never know whether I should do 1M or maybe 3 or 2. Said Dury. Oh dear. Dury is a construction worker, but he considers himself a gentleman. He is a good lad. Yes. A villainous scoundrel. One who has no respect for thee. Yes, this is my... Does it show up on camera? This is my mug that my grandma got me for Christmas. This is what a published author looks like. I did not buy it for myself. I would not buy something like that for myself. But thank you, Grammy. It's a lovely gift. Hudson. If I give the typo, people are going to realize that Shudon is just Hudson. With the S moved. Hudson nodded. Yes, a villainous scoundrel, one who has no respect for the... Trying to connote that Hudson is a... He doesn't have amazing mental capacities. He's a barbarian who's obsessed with his appearance and with seeming Prince Charming-ish. A villainous scoundrel, one who has no respect for the... I don't even know what he has no respect for. And this is the kind of thing that it's really tough to... Like, it's a sort of thing where you should just push through and not spend several minutes on one line. Yes. It's a villainous scoundrel. We'll just leave it at that, frankly. Well, it's a long story. I'd be happy to tell you. So, this is the point where he's finally revealing his backstory, which has been, we've had details the 11 chapters up to this point. He's a golem, and people haven't known how to make golems for a very long time. The only reason his body actually works is because the god clerk of reincarnation stuck his soul into the golem body. So unfortunately for Dury, anybody who sees him walking around and knows what a golem is, which is probably most older people, would pay a lot of attention to him and potentially turn him into the military, because the military used to use golems until they were all disabled by an enemy sorcerer. And so if Dury gets turned in, he's probably going to get dissected, or vivisected, I suppose, and then get thrown back into the curse that he escaped by going into this body. So he hasn't been telling people his backstory. There's not, amazing justification for him telling these people, but this is a very silly sort of story. We're not hanging too much on verisimilitude. I mean, we have a fairy who boils people into drugs, so... Well, it's a long story. If you're both serious about giving me a hand, I suppose I could tell you. I can give some justification here. Dury considered himself a good judge of character. Well, I mean, it's really Hudson more than Shudon. Shudon's actually kind of been the straight man woman to her brother's shenanigans, so we're felt he could trust them. Certainly, they were a little strange. Nduri supposed that was to be expected from... seem to ponder. Even if you're going into something stupid, which is exactly and borrowing money from Timken Boyle is certainly a stupid decision. You surely saved brother's life. If she really thought his life was in danger, she wouldn't have, you know, casually led him back into town. Really saved us. I suppose we owe you for that. She shrugged. Tribal health insurance comp controller. His head taken off by a meteor. Happens. Is that what a comptroller does? Gotta look this up. Yeah, that's fine for the moment. Editor will tell me if that doesn't work. Hudson flexed arms in a gesture of solidarity. And also, if I was using Pro Writing Aid at the moment, I could have just gotten some synonyms. I probably... Yeah, there's too many software that have just great different functionality. Ugh, I probably could just be writing there. Maybe I'll do that in the future. Oh no, he's turning into a professional wrestler. Feeling now a tinge loss. Well then, let's go. His lair is just down Lizard Street, right? Which is a completely meaningless Dragon Ball Z abridged reference. Timken isn't a lizard, so, you know, he really has no right living on Lizard Street. So scene break, 3 asterisks. Publishing on a site where there is very little formatting options, very few formatting options. There you can't center text, for example. You cannot underline or italicize unless you're in a contract with the site, which this is not. So, you know, scene breaks are just 3 asterisks there, and instead of italics, it's single quotes, which is doesn't look great, but it's what we have to work with. Gotta check my style guide to see how I was supposed to. Yes. Come on, where was it? Earlier, that's the word to use. Barry's soul dragged itself from was high above the sand. Souls. But he joined the line of so this is, yes. So this is a kind of afterlife he's entering after many times. He's going to explain himself to the clerk who calls him. I'm not basing this picture of an afterlife off anything particular, just throwing random details into it. That seems fair for a weird fantasy afterlife. Most of the souls forming the Golubisi left around. Dory remembered the feeling. His first incarnation. This wouldn't be 2 months earlier, this would be a few days earlier. Well, I suppose that wasn't my first. Considering it's the first one I remember. After he had come back a few times, the process had lost most of its initial terror, and Time passed. It was hard to tell exactly how much. While one was dead. Eventually, though, Dury reached the front of the line. And I will be right back. Am back. Right. So yeah, Dury has been reincarnating over and over, as he's going to reveal to the clerk. This is the last time he's going to reincarnate before he is transmigrated into his golem body. And I'm not necessarily trying to actively be making jokes or be achieving comedy, but trying to be funny, trying to add kind of a feeling of going to the DMV to, death. Is there like a funny acronym I can work off of here? Hello there, said the spirit. It was vaguely human-shaped, though its entire body seemed to be a mass of eyes wearing a trench coat, pair of spectacles. Just the one pair, perched on an eye that seemed to serve as a nose. Said Dury. Not seen you before. My first reaction was Daryl, just because it's dumb to have a heavenly being have a name like that, but what if it was Dariel? Where's Dariel? Is that how you normally spell Daryl? What's the standard spelling? Daryl. So, where's Dariel? Which might actually be, like, an angelic name, I don't know. I'm not Catholic, I don't know all the angel names. I'm not Hebrew either. Dariel is like a letter off from Daniel, so who knows? I said Duri. I've not seen you before. Where's Dariel? The angel paused. I'll just call it an angel back here. Oh. You're the special case, then. Can I see? Said the angel in a... We'll just do the standard be not afraid. Thou art dead, but be not afraid. Oh, it's a little chilly in here. Want to give the impression that like all of the dead souls that are coming to it are kind of receiving they're all being, even though it's a giant line and all of them should just be able to hear what is being said in front of them, when they actually experience it for themselves, it's suddenly a big show for them also. After his first few deaths, the whole thunder and glory show had become just another part of the routine. He now found it strange that every soul seemed shaken by it, despite Shirley being able to hear the same greeting to every single soul front of it in line. And because it's now been a few words since we mentioned Derry, we'll name him again. I've not seen you before, said Jury. He continued. Where's Dario? It's a voice. Lost its resonance and volume. And grew suddenly polite. Oh, you're the special case then. May I see your ticket? Held out a slip of paper which formed in his hand at the angel's request. Celestial goodness. This is your 50th. began. We'd really hoped you'd have sorted something out by now. Dury shrugged. Kind of hard when you're a baby. But my supervisor asked to see in his office if next to me check the angel nodded in sympathy. Oh, there's a note on your file here. My supervisor asked to see you in his office the next time you came through. He gestured, and a shining golden door appeared in the air. Just through there, thank you. Have a nice eternity. Thank you, said Dury. Same to you. Opened the door and stepped into a coolly lit office. It was such a change from the staggering majesty of the celestial. That at first wondered he had already been reincarnated again. But no, there was a distinct tingles with the cheap cologne. It seemed all angels pour up here. And the figure sitting at the wooden desk, the middle of the office. Despite the plain stone and wood of the walls and floor, certainly not human. His torso, like the angel, this creature's body was less humanoid, though apparently living. ball of blue fire burned in place of a head. "Oh," said the creature, in a voice like spluttering coffee. "Do sit down." Stool materialized before the desk. Dury sat with a slimy as though he had slapped a dead fish. "Sorry," this said the Fransaki. "I manage all in the human department, that is." "Your case has been accumulating quite a lot of paperwork. It's throwing a bit of a wrench in my weak plans. In your own words, would you mind telling me how all this started?" The autofill metadata only hits paint a calm picture. Well, first life. The first one I remember, that is. Well, Builder. Construction worker. As have been lately. Hard lately. Ordinary circumstances I wouldn't have taken. And this would be the witch who curses noted on fire. Please spare no detail. She had an ad. The advertisement she'd a I think did I label it here? $15 for adding a porch. That's what it was. Fool and his money are soon parted. That's, I mean, always happy to rip off Calvin and Hobbes. That's not really the context here, is it? The first bit was work and no play makes Sandas deathless. a dull drake. A dull dragon, we'll just go with that. I don't trust people to know what a drake is on this platform. The first bit was all work and no play mix, and as deathless a dull dragon. She was going to continue. I got a little angry, I'm sorry to say. I said if she didn't pay, she owed me. I was going to call the cops. Yep. Die in sigh somehow, despite having appearing to have either or mouth. Right, I don't have power to do that, Injury. Affairs of mortals are largely outside my control. It's called an immortal soul. Remember, once you have a body, there's nothing more I can do. However, it is possible I could help you get a get should be free of the other conditions of the curse. It appears yes. It's an empty body right here. Most ways functional. Anyone who turns someone else into sausage is a bad person, he said in a firm, proclamatory voice, as though uttering secret truth. Change the course. Yeah. But since there was something. How long is this chapter? Just gonna put that into the next chapter, I guess. Even 1700 is a lot for this. Awesome, so that's a finished chapter, or rather the finished first draft, and it's now going to get a editing draft. We're going to end this stream there for now. Thank you for watching if you've watched. I hope this was, fun. If you were using this for body doubling, I hope it was productive. Otherwise, I hope it was interesting watching, somebody else's writing process. We'll do this again. Have a great day.